Whew. Hello board game brothers and sisters, and it is hot out. YouTube doesn't really pay the bills, so I'm out here working the fields in Atlantis trying to earn my keep. I've been cultivating all day. I still got to water all these plants. I don't know if I'll have any time to make videos. Actually, you know, I heard if you make Poseidon angry, he waters the plants for you. Hey Poseidon!
Oh, hey Adam, how's it going?
You know, your mom is so large that when I tried to swerve around her with my chariot, my horses died of old age.
Yep, she is a titan after all. I'm sorry about your horses.
Oh. Yeah, I guess that's true. So how you been? Watching anything good on Netflix?
Well, I just binge watched Lost in Space.
Did you hear Judge Judy was canceled as well?
What? That's my favorite show!
Oh, I'm sorry, I had no idea.
I love Judge Judy!
Well, that'll do it.
Why Judge Judy? Why?
So welcome to the Kickstarter deep dive for Age of Atlantis, and let's check it out.
I'm gonna go get ice cream.
So Age of Atlantis is an engine building civilization game for 1 to 4 players, and it takes about 35 minutes per player to play. This game plays over 3 ages, and there's 10 rounds per age. And in this game, players are competing against each other as noble houses in the city of Atlantis, trying to win Poseidon's favor and rule over the land. Each player has their own player board and individual player powers, and they're also going to have their own individual myth, which is a mechanized version of some creature from mythology that player is going to have control over. You're going to be building your population, discovering new technologies, and defending the city from invaders. So this is a dice worker placement game where you're going to be putting your dice out on the board to perform different actions. The dice represent different people in your population, and each time they perform an action, they're going to get more and more exhausted, which makes them more and more upset. If you push them too hard, you're going to upset Poseidon, and you're going to start losing his favor. If you get too low on his favor track, then Poseidon's going to find you, and he's going to hurt you. Actually, you just can't perform actions in his blessed territory your next turn. And his blessed territory is the territory he's pointing at. So each round, cards are going to get drawn and get put on the board. These cards could be anything like different events or new actions, or they could be invaders from another land trying to invade your city. Each round, the invader cards are going to move closer and closer to the center of the board. And if they ever get to the center before a player defeats them, Poseidon gets really angry and floods the land, wiping them out of existence. The issue with this is that he'll also be wiping out all your cities and buildings that are in the way. Throughout the game, you're going to be leveling up your player board, unlocking new actions, and different ways to gain victory points. On top of that, you'll be able to gain victory points depending on how much Poseidon likes you at the end of the game. So this game is primarily in English, but it will support French and Spanish in a downloadable PDF. They are interested in offering different languages as well, so if there's a language you're looking for, make sure to make a fuss about it and let them hear you. If you're unsure if this is a game for you, you can just pledge $1 and then up your pledge in the Pledge Manager. And if you really want to see if this game's for you, they do have a tabletop simulator version of it that you can play with your friends. Or if you don't have any friends, check out the 𝗚𝗺𝗲 Discord channel because they're really friendly there, and it's a great place to be if you want to organize a play. This game is going to offer a solo mode, which I'll explain in a little bit here. And another neat thing about this campaign is that for every 50 shares, the Poseidon miniature is going to grow a ½ millimeter taller. If you're wondering if you can get this game later, well, that's a resounding maybe. There's no plans to print this for retail, although there is a retail pledge, so you might be able to talk to some of your local retailers and see if they're pledging and work out a deal with them. If this is a game you're really interested in, I suggest just backing it now. And if you do want to back this campaign, well, it's pretty simple because there's only one pledge to choose from, and it's $59 US. This pledge comes with the core game and all the unlocked stretch goals. So there are a lot of stretch goals unlocked, and many of them are component upgrades. There's linen finishes across everything in the game, dual layer player boards, larger minis, and screen printed meeples. In addition to this, the miniatures are going to be age washed, which if you're wondering what that looks like, just check out this photo here from Mechs vs. Minions. At The stretch goals are also going to include an organizer and an alternate map on the opposite side of the board. One of the Kickstarter stretch goals was 3 Kickstarter exclusive cards that were created and selected by the Kickstarter backers. At the time of filming this, they haven't announced what those cards are, but as soon as they do, I'll put it in the description below, so feel free to check there if you're interested to know what they might be. One of the updates also included a poll that asked backers which type of base they preferred on the miniatures, so show them both on the screen here. If you're interested to vote for one, I'll leave a link to that update in the description below. Personally, I prefer the regular base because the overall height of the miniature is going to be the same either way, and since the regular base is a bit smaller, it means that the actual miniature will be a lot larger, and I just like having bigger miniatures rather than bigger bases. For all you guys out there, this is where you gotta ask yourself, are you a miniatures guy or are you a base guy? There are some really neat stretch goals that are yet to be unlocked, and that includes upgraded dice, a bunch of boss cards to add some variability to your game, improved screen printed building meeples, and a scenario booklet that includes an 8-game multiplayer campaign, as well as team play, a solo campaign, and a few other goodies. And if this campaign reaches 4,000 backers, there's going to be a really cool co-op mode added, which includes these really neat water meeples. We're going to be working together to try and stop Atlantis from flooding for good. So for the solo mode, you're going to be playing against 𝗚𝗺 himself, and he's going to be represented by a deck of cards which are going to determine the actions that he performs on his turn. You can adjust the difficulty of the solo mode if you find it too easy, and your whole goal is to win the game within 6 years or less. There is a video posted for a solo mode playthrough if you want to check that out, but if you don't want to check that out, you can also check out the rules because they've been updated with the solo mode included. So speaking of the rulebook, there has been quite a lot of changes to the rules throughout this campaign, and that's because they've been playtesting the game constantly, trying to iterate on it and find areas for improvement. If you're a fan of my videos, you'll know that playtesting is a huge deal to me, and I'm really happy to see how transparent they have been with the game, playtesting it openly and also allowing you to play it yourself on Tabletop Simulator. I did check their BGG and I didn't see a whole lot of reviews or comments before they started the campaign, so I can't say for sure how much they playtested this before the campaign started. Although I would have liked to see some more evidence of playtesting before the campaign launched, it's really not something I see with a whole lot of campaigns, so the fact that they're doing this much during the campaign is still a huge win. If you were familiar with the rules before this campaign started, I'll just do a quick overview of some of the changes that they made. So they did a lot of rebalancing with the different myths and abilities. They restructured the rulebook a little bit and included a reference sheet, which is great. They changed what Poseidon's Blessing does. Instead of it granting you 3 VP, it'll give you a free action. I'm a huge fan of this change because getting victory points is really boring, where a free action actually gives you a decision to make. Achievements no longer lock, so there's not so much of a race throughout the game. And the Poseidon statue is actually a building you can visit now. And the next two are the two biggest changes in my opinion, and the first one is that you can no longer deploy your myths to any space. Instead, you have to deploy it to the territory that has your temple. And the last one, which I think is a much needed change, is that Poseidon's Fury no longer floods a random area on the board. Instead, it just prevents the player that triggered his Fury from being able to perform actions in his blessed territory for their following turn. I like this change because it removes some randomness from the game and also makes sure that the person who triggered his Fury is the one getting punished for it. I am really interested in this game, and it does look like a lot of fun. One thing to note is that the rulebook is only 4 pages long, so it is pretty easy to learn and teach. I have read the rulebook and I had no problems understanding how the game was played. I would have liked to see a couple more houses show up in the stretch goals, but for $59 I think what you're getting is very reasonable. Don't forget to check out your shipping prices. I'll put those on the screen now. All these videos I make are unpaid and I just do them for fun, so if you appreciate what I'm doing here, make sure to hit that like button to let me know, and feel free to subscribe for more content like this, and you can also check out my Patreon in the description below. The point of these videos is to provide you with the info so that you can decide for yourself if this is a game you want to back. I don't really like saying if I'm going to be keeping my pledge in or not, but I know all of you are going to ask anyway, so I guess I can tell you that I will definitely... One second. Holy crap, it's a lunker. I gotta go. Keep that shelf cluttered and the table full.